Welcome back. You know what? The debut Orchards album is out, and I was thinking, man, that's a great record. So I thought I'd ask Sam if he wants to come on the podcast, and he did. It's that easy. If you ask, they'll usually ignore your email, ignore your phone call, and then eventually they'll come on the podcast. So that's what we did. Anyway, we spoke about how amazing Delta Sleep are, how good they're always going to be, and honestly, it's amazing. Two Brighton bands loving each other's musical output. Who'd have seen that coming?
Right, well, welcome to Band on Band. Thanks so much for being here, Sam.
No problem.
And you want to talk about Delta Sleep and their amazing album, Twin Galaxies.
Yeah.
So tell me about the first time you heard or were introduced to Delta Sleep. How did that make you feel? What struck you?
So an old friend of mine was like, "Oh, Sam, you're into like sort of weird stuff." And I was like, I am into weird stuff. And they showed me a song called 1640 AM, and it was on YouTube. And it's like a funny video, and like Glenn, who's like the other guitarist, is tapping his way around, and it was just like a boss song in like a structure that wasn't usual, and it also was like very melodic. Like the one thing that struck me was like how sort of technical the music was, but then I still went away singing it, and I was like, whoa, this is like this is something different. Like I'd not heard a lot like it before.
Yeah. And that was on Management, the first EP.
See, I never listened to the EP. I only ever listened to this song on YouTube, like on the video, because that's the thing. Like I never knew about them. I just knew this song, and I was like, it was on Noisy, and I was like, oh, Vice, that's pretty cool. It's on Noisy. They must be big. And then I found out they were based in Brighton, and then yeah. And
then you had to move down to Brighton.
Then I had to move. I was already in Brighton at that point.
So were you sort of, I mean, for the people that don't understand, Sam plays guitar. So were you already sort of messing around with this sort of world yourself? Was this sort of influencing you, or were you in a different sort of world at that point in time?
No, I mean, I've always been into like the Mars Volta and Incubus and stuff. So I definitely already I like the weirder side of, I guess, music. But then Delta Sleep had done it in a way, like obviously the Mars Volta can just be like batshit at sometimes.
Yeah.
And Delta Sleep did it in a way, like I said, that was just like very tasteful, I thought. Like it was still a pop song, but just like weird.
Yeah, I remember around like 2016 when Twin Galaxies came out, I was definitely taken back by songs like Spy Dolphin and Camp Adventure, and how it was, like you're saying, like musically all over the place. Like you didn't know what was happening, but Dev could always string a story, and his voice is really, really well accompanied in a lot of those songs, and the melodies all sort of match, considering how crazy it can be sometimes musically. Yeah.
Like one of my favourite bands is Everything, and that's a similar sort of thing. It's like bass, drums and guitar, and in their case keys are all going, like bouncing off each other, but then it's very like it just works, and that's like, I'm sure we're going to get onto it, but that's like one of the things about Twin Galaxies that really like just got my attention.
Yeah, so what was it specifically about Twin Galaxies? Because I guess you were in Brighton at this point in time, 2016.
Well, I knew Delta Sleep like personally as well at this point.
Right, okay.
But I wasn't like a fanboy yet. I was just like...
Yet,
yeah, there you go. Foreshadowing.
Yeah,
and I think I saw the video, once again, YouTube, because I like watching like how bands sort of do the visuals to stuff as well. And I watched the video for Lake Sprinkle Sprankle, and it just totally like took me straight back to that first time I'd heard Delta Sleep, because I was just like, what? Okay, the guitar tone's nice, ooh, and then the big drum intro, and then just like Dev's voice came in with the melody straight away, and I was just like, okay, right, I'm falling off an edge here now, and I just literally like Lake Sprinkle Sprankle then just ate up every single, and then when the record came out, it was like, it blew my mind. I think it blew a lot of people's minds.
I remember watching was it it must have been a Small Pond live session for Strongthony.
Yeah.
With like where it had like the different colours.
No,
like,
they did that.
over it.
They did that in which I was going to get onto. That's a nice segue. They did that in the studio that they recorded Twin Galaxies in. Yeah.
Go on, tell me more about that.
So when I listened to Twin Galaxies, I remember we were all like, all of Orchards were just like nerding out, and me and Will in particular were just like, oh my god, like the sound of this. We were like, because we were basically like, we hadn't released or even recorded Peggy at that point. And we were like looking for somewhere to record, and we were like, all right, let's see. So I got obviously I'd bought the vinyl, and like I from BSM, big up. And and I like just was like listening to the album, and I was like reading the back, and it said recorded by Tom LeBeau Morley. So we were instantly just like, okay, this guy obviously knows his way around like this type of music, and like because the big thing was like the vocals were like not buried in the mix, and that was like a big thing for us. So we went and got in touch with Tom thinking, oh, he's going to be crazy expensive, and he wasn't. And he like, we went down and recorded with him, and they did that in like his big sort of lounge space. But we recorded like everything on Losers Lovers, and like so everything on Losers Lovers was recorded with the same guy who recorded Twin Galaxies.
Oh, that's something for the BSM nerds out there.
That's it, mate. Yeah.
I really specifically in that live session as well, and like I think it definitely comes through on Twin Galaxies, like how everything, regardless of who is leading or what instrument is leading a section or a particular part of a song or the whole song in general, like everything. So I guess it comes into their songwriting ability. Like everything feeds into each other beautifully, but yet nothing overshadows or overpowers anything. I just think they've somehow captured that really well in all of their audio recordings.
They're bloody bastards, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. Even like there's certain parts where I guess traditionally, in if we're gonna like loosely call it math rock, like bass for instance is not usually something that shines through all the time, but in Delta Sleep, the perfect parts that harmonise beautifully. I don't know how they do it. I'm very happy that they continue to do it.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, same here. It's what's the name, man. It's like everything's so, and I think you can only like. I mean, they might just laugh at me hearing this, but I feel like everything's so well thought out, and like that's why I'm really into it, because I don't know. It feels like I don't know, genuine. Like they're not trying to do all this stuff to sort of like flex and be like, look how good we are. It's just the songs that they write. That's the style they write, and they absolutely nail it. And they've just got their own little niche, and like they're hammering it home. Because even like I know we're not strictly talking about their new stuff. We're talking about Twin Galaxies, but like even their new stuff, man, like it's just getting better. It's just like an evolution of Twin Galaxies. Like and like you listen to Ghost City, and it's just like wow.
It's massive.
And then
we can talk about Ghost City. Yeah.
Oh god.
I like how. I mean, this is not strictly only on Twin Galaxies. You can, if there are any other points of interest that you want to share, you're more than welcome to.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna go off on a tangent at some point, so that's good to know.
I even like. I mean, only recently, I think within the last year or so of this recording, when I was talking to Dev. For another podcast we did after the show.
Is it Dev talking about how much he loves Orchards? Is that right?
Yeah, that was the one. That hasn't come online yet. We were talking about how he writes in his flat there, like, and he's in his flat, and you can see like right onto the sea. It's right on the Brighton seafront, and he was sort of explaining how all the albums are concept records, and it just like blew my mind. I'd never even thought about that. I just took each individual song as it came. Yeah. But he's strung this elaborate, like he could write a book about it probably. Yeah. It's honestly it's dead good.
I mean that's good to hear, because like we've definitely had like, you know, nights where we're like having a drink and ours, and like I'm on the seafront as well, and like we're listening to Twin Galaxies, and we're like he's always talking about water and bodies of water, and we're obviously like looking at the sea, and I was like, me and Will, I remember just being like, it's like a concept, isn't it? So the fact you've just said that is like vindication. I got it right.
It's hard not to be influenced by a massive body of water when you live right next to the sea.
Well, yeah. 100%. 100%.
I'm going to wait until there's some more Orchard tunes out and see if I can find any water-based references.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so when did you... This is always a fun one. When did you see them live for the first time?
Oh, shit, right. So I can't remember. I've been trying to think about this. I think it was either... I'm probably wrong, but TTNG played in Sticky Mike's in Brighton. And, and that's, like, obviously such a small show to see them at. And I think Delta Sleep might have played that. If not, I swear that they might have played with Cleft. There's a lineup for you. Alpha Male Tea Party, Cleft, Delta Sleep, and Axes.
Jesus.
Yeah, they played in, I think, and like once again, I think Delta Sleep played that, but they played in what used to be called Bleach in Brighton. It's closed down now.
Yeah, I know Bleach.
But I think that was it. I just can't remember. I've seen them obviously now. Like, we've played with them a few times. I remember the first time we played with them. That's probably a better question, because that obviously was like the first time I was like, oh my God, guys.
Yeah. A bit starstruck.
It was us, Delta Sleep, and I Told You I Would Eat You.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think
that's a great lineup as well.
That's a good lineup, innit? Where did we bloody play now? We played in... It's like I think it was Cambridge, maybe? In like the upstairs of a pub. And we robbed a couple of glasses because they were nice glasses, and Will left his kick pedal there. That's all I remember about that. But they played basically like a load of new stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like proper nerding out about it, just being like, oh, if this is their new stuff, like this is what's to...
Yeah. Was that must have been on the tour that you did with I Told You to Eat You, where you bounced around a little bit? It was like
I don't know.
4 or 5 dates or something.
Oh mate, so many shows. I've got no idea. But we've definitely played with Delta Sleep quite a bit. But we've played with I Told You I Would Eat You so many times.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I feel like because again, when I try and answer that, when I try and ask these questions, I try and make sure that I can relate to that as well. So like I genuinely don't remember when I first saw Delta Sleep, but I feel like with a lot of my like really good friends, I don't remember meeting them for the first time. And I always think it's nicer when you feel like that person has always been a constant in your life. Yeah. And I kind of feel exactly the same with bands. Like, I have no idea when I first saw Delta Sleep, but I feel like they've always been playing.
Yeah.
It could have been, 10 years since I first saw them, obviously not, but I feel like I've always seen them in smaller venues, always seen them in bigger venues. Yeah. I'm always excited to see them whenever they're touring next, because they are just a really bloody good live band as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, their Twin Galaxies was like mostly, I don't know if I'm giving away any secrets, but it was mostly recorded live as well.
Ooh.
So, like, yeah, they nailed it. Yeah, it was mostly done live, which is sick. Yeah. But that's a good thing you said there, like, not remembering when you first heard or saw a band live, but I remember when I first heard them, but not seeing them. And it's like they've always kind of been there. Like, if I actually think about it, just doing this with you now and like talking about the recording and that, in a way, they've actually like pure influenced what Orchards have done, because we would never have gone to record with Tom if it wasn't for Twin Galaxies and like biting the record and seeing it on the back. And then who knows, man, like when we recorded Peggy, it might not have sounded the way it sounds now, and people might have not got into it. And similarly with Honey and Darling, and then, the whole of Losers Lovers, fucking hell.
Yeah, so, I mean, your whole life is based on them now.
Yeah, don't tell them. I think I actually blanked Glenn. I was walking home listening to some tunes like 2 nights ago. I've been out for a couple of drinks, and I was just walking down my square, and this guy just like rides past on a bike, and it was dead dark, and he just gave me like the most like not how do you say it, like in a... He didn't like throw his hands up and was like, Sam. He just sort of nodded to me, and like he'd gone, and I had headphones in, and I was like, oh my God, that was Glenn. So I turned around and I was like, yo! And then he'd gone by that point. But yeah.
Hello, this is some content. It's an advert. You know the drill by now. We make terrible adverts. So here is another one. Delta Sleep are great and all, love them, can't get enough of them, but there's a lot of Orchards chat going on. So if you're listening to this and you haven't picked up tickets to their April headline tour, then really, what the hell is going wrong? So here I am, going to tell you about it anyway. They are doing a bunch of headline shows in April. We're talking Birmingham on April the 2nd, Manchester April the 3rd, Glasgow on the 4th, Nottingham on the 7th. A little bit of a day off there, that's fine, you need it. The big one, London on April the 8th, Bristol on April the 9th, back to Cardiff on the 10th, big hometown show on April the 11th, then a couple of days off because they're going to Europe. Who knows how that's going to be? Might be hard, probably going to be easy. Anyway, Antwerp on the 14th, Paris on the 15th, Cologne on the 16th, Berlin on the 17th, Hamburg the 18th, and then the big Amsterdam, April the 19th. That's the tour. Be there. Don't miss out. Anyway, back to the podcast.
So as an artist yourself, like, I mean, I guess you can look at this. It'd be interesting to know from a point of view, from a guitarist point of view, and like a songwriting point of view, and maybe even a band point of view. Like, how has Delta Sleep influenced you? Like, you were indicating that you feel like the whole of Orchards is based solely on Delta Sleep.
No, don't quote me on that. I'm just saying. I guess. Well, it's that whole thing of like, you know, we're obviously very focused on melody, but we still like to make music that's interesting and that you can kind of nerd out to. Yeah, I know Will absolutely, like, you know, the drums. Obviously, anyone will tell you in Delta Sleep. Yeah. Like, Blake's just a demon.
Machine.
But yeah, you know, Will loves like the drum parts and how sometimes they can just go mental and sometimes it can like just well, I mean, it always works, but sometimes it's very like understated.
Yeah.
What was the question? how are we influenced by it musically?
Yeah, let's take it from like a guitar point of view first of all. Like, how do you feel like Delta Sleep has influenced your guitar playing? If so, how?
Okay, but gonna just be bad here and be like, I don't think they've influenced me that much because I'm like, if people say what's your top 3 bands, I think my top band would be just 2000s indie music in general. So like my guitar playing's not like pure influenced by Delta Sleep. There's definitely stuff like in Peggy and like some songs that are coming out on the record that you haven't heard that have got like you know, chord shapes that I guess are very Delta Sleepy. And that's like, I guess that's like as far as the guitar playing goes in a way. Like the chords they use are nice. And
are nice.
I like that chord thing. But yeah, I'm not like, it's I write in a totally different way to how I imagine Dev and Glenn write their guitar parts.
Yeah, I've absolutely I like this whole, I mean, I never played guitar as a growing up or anything. I was always a drummer, so it's always interesting for me to, when I listen to music. I can play an E chord and a C chord, and that's about it on guitar. Drums was always the thing that I played. So whenever I listen to music, I'm always tapping along. I'm always thinking of the rhythms and stuff like that. Cool. And especially with Delta Sleep, I have no idea. I'm just like, Blake, the hell?
I mean, yeah. When you watch their like Audio Tree session, it's just like Blake going absolutely sick.
How he's not like sweating to oblivion. How he's not like evaporated. Cool cat, man.
Such a cool cat.
So as like a band, do you feel like there's been much influence? Obviously the Brighton music scene is so small and contained, so it's a great community down there. Like, do you feel like there's been any like words of wisdom? Have you learned anything from them? Have you been influenced by anything they've done? Yeah,
I guess we did an interview the other day, and a similar sort of question came up, not so specific obviously, but we were like, when we were starting out, I know we get labelled as like, or we get put into like the pigeonhole of math rock quite a lot, and like, I guess we started out in that scene, definitely. And that was, like, I guess a lot to do with Delta Sleep, because we sort of looked at them and we were like, you know, we're not a band like Axes, or we're not, like, doing the math riffs like Cleft and Alpha Male Tea Party, who were, like, the ones at the time. And Delta Sleep were kind of, like, I guess the closest, obviously not musically, but ideas-wise. Like, there was such a strong focus on melody and arrangement, but it was still weird and like very interesting. So I guess we sort of gravitated towards them in that way. I know we always have this joke with like you and Kevin, all that, being like they're all like big like bros on the label. We're always like, oh, Delta Sleep. But it's like we just sort of thought that, you know, that's like a kind of way for us to get into a scene, because what did we say in this interview the other day? We were like, we were too weird for the pop kids, but we were too poppy and not heavy enough for the rocky grunge kids. But like, you know, the lovely like weirdos in the math rock scene just sort of took us in and like really dug what we did. And I don't think we would have like really had eyes towards that if it wasn't for Delta Sleep and them being like, yeah, we can play and we can like do this really cool instrumentation, yet you're gonna go away singing our melodies, and like that really is something that stuck with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that is one of your strongest elements, I think, as a band, very much as Delta Sleep, as well, as you were saying earlier. Like you can like, you look a fantastic live band, again, just like Delta Sleep. I'm trying not to put you both in the same pigeonhole here, because you both do a lot of things really, really well individually, but you both can write a great tune and be instrumental and inspire people instrumentally. Like, whenever I watch Delta Sleep, I don't know who to watch. Yeah. I just have to like scan across everyone for a little bit of time. And I feel that's the same way with you lot as well.
That's cool.
And after seeing them and hearing them a lot, I'm humming something or tapping it, or like I'm trying to remember what Blake was playing or something like that. And I genuinely think that's a sign of a really good song. Yeah,
of course. Like if you can make like the intro to like Sprinkle Sprankle, like that guitar, like dun 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 dun, and then the drum intro is almost made like the amount of times like we've all been having a drink and like that's blasting and everyone's just air drumming. Like I think I air drum to that more than I air drum to like a song for the deaf, and that's a lot to say.
I think that's probably one of my favorite Delta Sleep songs.
Oh, it's amazing.
I think it just builds and it crescendos so well, and it just like it's almost like it hits you with everything you want in the first 10 seconds, and then you've got another like 3.5 minutes left of it. You can't go wrong with a bit of Delta Sleep.
And that's the thing, like you say, like I'm just looking at it now, like, you know, it's like it's over 4 minutes the song, and traditionally people are like, oh, pop song 3.5 minutes, and it's like, you know, they can do that, and yet you're never getting bored, or it's never like, oh, when's this? Like I've been listening to loads of music this morning that people have released recently, and like I'm switching it off after like 2 minutes because I'm bored. Whereas like I'm not going to name any names, but I'm just like, you know, I'm not into it, and that's not. It might be a great song, but like with Delta Sleep, they can have like an epic 6 minute long song, and I'm just in.
Yeah, I mean, even with the EP with Younger Years,
like, man, like we were.
I remember.
Go on, sorry.
I remember getting that. It's very much the similar situation as I remember getting the Ghost City Rarities. Yeah. And I heard the song with the Tricot vocalist singing on it, and I was just like, I know what you're singing, even though it's in Japanese, but this sounds like a whole different song. And you've like how that whole part of like how they managed to get the same song with the same melody in a completely different language that is not from our same linguistic group, and it works so perfectly
in it.
I just like I don't know what that band's going to do next. Long live them. Well, I hope. I'm all about whatever they do next, whatever it is.
What, Delta Sleep? Yeah, obviously. I thought you were talking about Tricot. I was like, no, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great band as well, but I'm talking mainly about Delta Sleep.
Of course, man. Well, like that Younger Years EP, like we were on tour with Pompoko in October, and like we were just rinsing that in the car, and we were just like, it's up there with like some of, as a band, our like favourite Delta Sleep stuff. It's like, it's changed, but it's, I don't know, man. It's evolved. They just evolve every time, and it's like you say, so excited to see what they do next. I'm genuinely just like, like, fuck, what are they going to do next? Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. Like,
just do whatever you want, really, because it sounds good. They conveyed like the same energy as an album on 6 songs.
Well, yeah. I mean, how long is it? I'm going to have a little look on my iTunes now. So it's,
I mean, one song, the close is 7.5 minutes. Yeah, it's 25 minute long.
25 minute long, yeah. I mean, it's just great, isn't it?
Fucking great.
I mean, this is the whole point of this. I'm allowed to just go off on one of our Delta Sleep. Just be like,
absolutely. Amazing. Honestly, they're probably one of my. I mean, I remember getting Twin Galaxies before I like officially had started working with BSM.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I think like it was
that long ago.
Yeah, because I think it was like I bought it or. Oh, actually, no, I think I worked 2000 Trees and I asked Kev if I could have a copy of it. And he was like, yes. And I was like, this is the best band that are on BSM. And he was like, well, there's always room for more good bands. And I was like, that is true, but these guys are the best. Final thoughts on Delta Sleep? Anything you'd like to, any gushing bits you want to go off your chest now?
I will in a minute. One more thing I remember you saying about the band. Lucy might, like, tell me I'm wrong about this, but I think she'd never been into, like, math rocky stuff until she heard Delta Sleep. So I've just remembered that now. So that's, like, a pretty big influence they had on us. Like, she'd never been into this sort of, like, type of music until she heard Delta Sleep, and then she was just like, oh my god. So yeah, that was that. Anyone want to say about Delta Sleep? I don't know. I want them to take us on tour with them. Please hashtag and tag Delta Sleep in this. Everyone listening, please.
Let's make it happen.
Petition to I reckon
to have Orchards.
The one thing that was awesome to see, like, we obviously went to America last year, and we were in New York, and we had, like, you know, it was amazing. I'm not just, like, you know, cracking on about us, but, like, we had, like, a load of people who came to our shows in New York and were singing along, and they came to, like, every show we played in New York, and it was beautiful. And we obviously spoke to them, and they were just like, we first heard about you. I think it was something like they were listening to Delta Sleep, and we came suggested, and they were like, it's just like, it just was like a perfect little segue into you, like, from Delta Sleep, like, led us to you. And then they were just like, do you, like, you're both from Brighton? And when we go, like, oh yeah, we know them, like, they blew people's minds, and they were like, do you think you'll ever tour over here with them? And I was like, I have no idea, to be honest. I was like, we're on the same record label, and they were just like, oh my god, like, but yeah, it's cool that people have found us through Delta Sleep as well. So that's like
it's a great place to leave it as the cars go past.
Yeah, could you hear that then?
I did hear
like
that.
A big old motorbike.
Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Long live Delta Sleep, long live Orchards. Rock on.
Yeah, sick.
Great. Thanks, man.
Nice one, man. See you later.
Nice one, Sam. Cheers for that. You can tell that we're pretty big fans of Delta Sleep. There's no surprise there. Anyway, going to keep this one short because I'm sure it's a lovely day outside and you've got better things to be doing. So, Band on Band is very much definitely still hosted by me, Connor Laws, and edited by my good friend and someone who is sincerely overwhelmed, Oscar Lydiard. Good Orchards pun there. Be good to your friends, buy the Orchards record, stream the Orchards record, share the Orchards record. Simple, really. Bye.